Yo, what's up? Back at it, y'all, again with yet another car video. Oh man, what's coming up? Okay, be reading my text on the side and whatnot, right? But finding your type. But before I get to that, I gotta shout out this brother. Now I wrote his name down, but I left the paper at home, and he was talking about my podcast today. Book smart men with a little hood in them, and he used the term select squares. Those nerds who grow up in the hood, so they still got that edge to them, but they hitting the books. And another term, they another form of Malik, or based on the Genius Bruiser. So in Malik, that was the term introduced by cousin T-Taw, because you got those cats. Yeah, they you could say they nerdy and they might get into alternative pursuits, skateboarding or comic books and all of that. But they'll still knock that woman out of the box, because remember, the whole select non-select thing is really a sexual hierarchy. So anyway, plus in some hoods, honestly, shoot, the roughnecks and street dudes, if they cool with the nerd, they'll make sure he gets sex. They'll make sure, they'll find a neighborhood dummy for that. So, enough about nuances. Finding your type. I said I was going to talk about this because I said guys be getting too caught up in another man's looks, and that's basically, well, other than being suspect, that's basically about a competition thing and thinking this guy get it more. But every single man got a type. Every single man, without doing any self-improvement, is going to find some women. The only issue is the quality of the women. That's the only issue. And that's really why, if you want a better quality of women, you need to be a better quality. Now, I know some guys don't want to self-improve for that reason, but if all you getting is booger bears, that's you, dog. But finding your type, that's easy. And I did some videos about this before. And then I got some on-demand videos when I talk about personality types and stuff, and men's and women's sexual personality types. But that's a little bit deeper, and it's abstract. And, you got some cats studied that for years and still finding little nuances. Yeah, I know I love that word. Anyway, speaking of nuances, check out... I should have another episode of Nuances to the Game up on Rom TV tonight. So, anyway, let me pull out here, make sure somebody ain't coming. I'm going to be most annoyed if I run into somebody. But finding your type, this is what every dude should do. And it's amazing because what a lot of dudes do, they just see a pretty face, but they just see the pretty face. And they don't be thinking, well, is this woman actually compatible with me? Because the key to any relationship is compatibility. People could talk all this other stuff, but you got to be compatible. In fact, a book I talked about before, In Search of Good Pussy by Donald Spears, he said 2 mentors, they told him that relationships break up because of incompatibility and unrealistic expectations. And the unrealistic expectation being that you two are compatible. So, what any dude got to do is every time he interacts with a woman, take a mental note. Every single time. Figure out, all right, just figure out, okay, this woman rejected you. Okay, what was she wearing? What was her social class? As best as possible. Did she give an indication of her religion? What was her race? And, what personality traits, especially the personality traits, did she exhibit? Was she outgoing? Was she kind of reticent or quiet for some of y'all who ain't as educated as you think you are? What is she? What was going on with her? You note that. You know all of those things. Then the next woman note it. You just keep noting it as you're dealing with women. And especially when you succeed with a woman. Okay, what was going on with her? And don't do in terms of whether she was pretty or not to you. Try to focus on the other stuff. You pay attention to, her looks, her body, and everything. That plays a part, but that's not the only thing you're looking at. You need to look at her holistically. Like, where did you meet her? what social class was. Like anybody who's followed me a long time know that I said, I had an interesting upbringing. On one hand, living in Southeast, but on another hand, staying over like one of my grandparents' place, and relatively to their neighbors and everything, they had a little bit of money, so I got to see a little bit of everybody's world. Plus, going to private school when I was for high school, so I got to see a little bit of everything. So you get to see the class differences. And I might actually do a book on that, like class and culture, particularly in black relationships, because people approach relationships like, quite frankly, like everybody has the same needs. They really do. Like on here, I'll talk in general, but if I'm like talking with somebody individually or different groups, I have to adjust what I'm saying. So you got to pay attention to that. Like pay attention, like if... and especially pay attention to like how you look and what you're wearing. Like right now I'm letting the beard grow up. Somebody try to get on me, try to talk some shit, but I'll just say, for those who know what I'm saying, I'm kind of engaged in a ritual right now. I ain't shaving. So, I'll say spiritual reasons right now. But because of my look right now, and the interface when somebody sees me, it wouldn't be, they wouldn't think, oh yeah, he's a professional dude, got a lot of money. He's just think he's just some older roughneck dude or something. But it's funny, I've had to, let's just say I had to be in the hood near where I live a couple times to take care of some business, and interpret that any way you want, but the look garnered a lot of, attention from the women in that neighborhood. So it's just like, okay. And it proves what I'm saying. So you got to look at yourself first and say, okay, what type of women interact with me under these situations, in these places, everything. I mean, and honestly, look at everything. And I mean, I say don't look at just looks, but yeah, take that in consideration. For men, always taking account a woman's hairstyle. A woman's hairstyle will tell you more about her social class than anything she could see. Because every social class, every subculture got a uniform, every single one. Now, sometimes it's subtle because a lot of people don't pay attention to subcultures, but, for people who really watch me a long time, and then for some people who maybe know me offline, they know I'm way more educated than I let on, and actually got some training in paying attention to these things. Education-wise and professional-wise. So you pay attention to little nuances like body language things. Like, I had a detractor trying to say, hey, classifications are so high school. And I was just like, intelligence agencies, psychologists, marketing teams, a whole bunch of people pay like really thousands of dollars, maybe even millions, just to classify. Because once you realize people, even economically, people in certain economic classes are going to buy certain things, and that's how corporations figure to put out a business in a neighborhood. But that's just a little tangent. But you want to look at all of those things and say, okay, this is the type of woman that I will appeal to, or this is the type of woman that finds me appealing. Like a lot of times dudes can actually change their type of women they have access to by just changing how they dress. Like you got some cats out here got a bad uniform as far as dealing with women. They're wearing like tennis shoes all the time, or I don't see sagging pants around where I live. I don't know if that's even still a thing. Y'all can tell me, because just in my immediate area, I don't really see it like I used to. Maybe somebody finally got the memo that that's some prison shit. So, but you want to really just work and figure out like your type. Because what you want to do is you creating a portfolio. Then as soon as you see that, you creating a profile. Which for the person who says something about classifications being high school, that's what the FBI does. They classify. You go argue with them. But you creating a profile. You creating a profile, and it's like, oh, okay, because in my mind I have a profile of who's going to be receptive and how receptive. Like I'll take one look at somebody, I say, okay, they nice, but they're gonna have to pull teeth a little bit to deal with this one. And this one, I was like, look, all I had to do was say hi. And then this one, yeah, I just better keep walking. And I would give it, you want to give that, like, you want to get it to the point where it's 90%. There's always that wild card in there. There's always that chance that somebody I wouldn't think would be interested would be interested. But then you want to take that type thing to the next level. Because, see, that's only the physical level, but the ultimate level is really the personality level. Remember what I said about compatibility? That's ultimately where you want to go. Now, see, that's tougher because then you have to like talk to the person and get to know them. But it's like those cases where you just click with a person. Like write those down. What did that person you just click with have? Now, the people I click with, there's no particular body type or person. Well, definitely personality type, but look they have. I click with people in all social classes or subcultures, but then that's a personality thing, and that actually gets deeper. But see, the personality is modified by your class and culture. An aggressive, okay, like an aggressive dude who grows up in the hood, he might end up being a gang member or something, get into violent crime or drugs or anything. But whereas that same aggression in that same exact aggression, but that kid grows up in a middle class household, that dude's going to prep school. That dude's getting a scholarship. He's the captain of the Harvard football team. So, you got to always got to modify it by class and culture, access, all of that socioeconomic thing. Like, you got to look at all that stuff. So when you looking at a woman, as best as possible, try to assess as much information. Like, just get started, you might want to just write it down, jot some notes down. But once you get used to it, you can look and it's like boom, boom, boom. And the master teacher BGS picked that up about me because he would watch my videos and say, Rom always changes his look like consistently. And then he would listen to the content of the video and say, oh, okay. But he also knows when I'm dealing with some women, I can change it. Because like I said, I've had, like I'm in Bel Air. Anybody familiar with Aberdeen? I've had to do some stuff over there. Can't get into it. Let's just say this ain't all the thing I do for to make my money. But, and even though I said all this is for a ritual, it helps me blend in a little bit better. So, but there's a certain type of woman that's looking at me. Now, if I'm looking, like if I want to deal with a more upper class type of woman, all this gets clean, and then, instead of the Timbs, I'm wearing like some Clarks. So, anyway, seriously, and every guy can do it. You can figure it out. And see, I know some guys say, well, what if I just get ugly women? Well, think about it like this. Attractive women still got personalities, and they still want to click with you. That's one of the dynamics on why average looking dude might end up with a beautiful woman. Because I'll tell you right now, they clicked. They clicked. Because plenty of people, they just meet each other and they be like, damn, I ain't even normal. But because once you click with a person, like for those fools who think, oh, personality don't matter, I'm like, you robots. Because you still got to deal with the person. Only time it might not matter is if you meet somebody in a club, they just that section, you fucking a bathroom or something. But if you're dealing with that person longer than a minute, like long term, y'all got to click. So you want to write down all of that, and you can find it. See, once you have a general idea, then you don't waste time. Even if you want a cold approach, you already know. You can just take a look in the room and say, boom. Like, and it's good for other things besides that, because I told you I work in sales. I worked in sales, so if I'm selling something, when I used to vend or whatever, I take one look at a person and already know what they're gonna buy. I would point them to different things on my table. So it's an economic advantage to it too. And this is deeper. I'm just gonna throw this out there. If you think about it, economics and social dynamics are the same thing. Like Amos Wilson, who wrote Blueprint for Black Power, said, economies are basically social systems. So I'm just throwing that deep shit out there. Just to let y'all know, I'm not just some old dude driving around in a car. Yeah, I get academic with anybody. I don't care who it is. I will get academic with you. So anyway, that's all I got for today. Doing a lot of stuff. I gotta go check out this. For those from the Hartford area, I gotta go check out this Cajun restaurant in Havre de Grace. And it looked like it's about to storm out this joint. But I still gotta get that red beans and rice. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later.